All the preparation is now in the rearview mirror. And the first game of Group D kicking off for the U.S. and Paraguay. The South American side will attack from right to left across your screen with the red and white tops and the blue shorts. While the U.S. come out in their dark kits for this first opening game of Group D. They'll defend the goal to Shannon and my left. Already early going for Sandoval up and over the top. The U.S. giving a little bit of chase. Plenty of numbers back there to help out. And Kiara Pickett will send that one out for a throw.
It's going to be important, especially for this U.S. team with no one having World Cup experiences, to get the nerves out the first 5 minutes and then set play and relax and do their thing.
Barrero with the throw. Sandoval trying to hold up play. Martinez dumping it back, and a long-distance shot softly into the gloves of Ivory. She played every minute of the CONCACAF U-17 Women's Championships, and this is her first touch of the World Cup.
Yeah, and a shot like that, while it's good to get Ivory touches early, it's going to be a bit far-fetched to beat her from that range unless you're really putting some power on that and driving it into the upper corners.
Well, for Paraguay, we expect to be some U.S. dominance in this one. You never know how often they will get even a shot into the final third if things play out the way that B.J. Snow hopes they do. Here is Ashley Sanchez. Can't hold it up there. Rosa Mino coming in. Quick ball in for Taliaferro in front and into the gloves of Heidi Salas, one of a number of players on this Paraguayan starting 11 that play for Cerro Porteño, one of the bigger clubs down in Paraguay on the senior circuit. Jalen Howe winning the first head ball at midfield, and the U.S. can settle in across the back now. As Shannon and I were discussing before we came on the air here, this is the lone of the 4 stadiums with the artificial turf down here in Jordan. And the U.S. will get a taste of a couple of different venues. Obviously, they hope to see more making their way out of Group D and into the semifinals and finals in a couple of weeks' time. Here's Gurma. A lot of speed out of the back for Naomi Gurma. That ball bounces up and a handball whistled there against Brianna Pinto.
Might be a little bit of nerves there for Pinto. The ball kind of bounced up on her, popped off her foot. You're going to see here inadvertent, but she's trying to make the run through. The ball kind of catches her heel.
I know we're only about 3 minutes in, but I would say a pretty positive start for Paraguay.
Absolutely. They know they have quite the test ahead of them today, and they need to be able to stay patient and take a chance of their opportunities in that final third when they can get it, because the U.S. is such a strong, powerful team when they get forward, especially in that final third.
Yeah, B.J. Snow, the head coach, a native of Madison, Wisconsin, told us he would expect a little bit of nerve for some of these young ladies. And I think that's probably part of dovetailing into your comments, Shannon, in the sense that, yeah, they don't have U-17 World Cup experience. Yeah, you've played in big games, you've played internationals leading up to this, but this almost takes you to the next level coming down here to Jordan and actually kicking off your matches in group play.
And this is an opportunity for these young players to make a name for themselves. They can move up through the national team programs and hopefully secure a spot on the senior team. And BJ said they're aware the nerves are going to be there. They accept them, they expect them, and they're going to use them to their advantage.
Ferry trying to send that one up and over the top, intended for Alexa Spanstra on this near sideline. And a tangle up at midfield will give Paraguay another free kick.
You see here Sandoval gets her body in between the ball and the defensive player and just gets clipped from behind. It's going to be the first of many hard hits today.
So Cabañas steps up to deliver the free kick just inside of the U.S. half. As we are just into first half action here inside of Prince Mohammed International Stadium. Service right to the top of the 18, easily handled by the U.S.
Another ambitious opportunity there, but you're going to see on those set pieces, Cabañas was in no rush. They're going to look to take advantage of slowing the play. They don't want the USA to get any sense of rhythm. So they're going to take advantage of any opportunity to just slow the game and try to get the U.S. off their pace.
The U.S., for their part, making their third appearance here in the FIFA Women's Under-17 World Cup. And as we showed you in the graphic at the top, this has been one of the age groups where the success, the ultimate success, I should say, has eluded them. It's actually a competition, Shannon, that has been dominated by Asian countries. Japan, the defending champions, but North Korea and South Korea also having a lot of success. France, the only non-Asian country to have hoisted the trophy in the 4 previous editions.
And when you think that Germany and the USA have not won at the U-17 level, but they're having the success at the full side, this is one that they want to finally take care of so they can get that monkey off their back. And I guarantee the approach for these girls, because of the time they spent together, they have a sense of family. They are prepared, and they know that's out there looming over them. They'd love to be the ones to bring the first U-17 championship home.
Sanchez gets away from the first challenge. Ball pops right back onto her foot, slips it through a slot here. Tagliaferri with a chance to run it down. Service back in onto the near post, intended for Savannah Coleman, but pushed away by the Paraguay defense. Can they look for a counter-attacking chance? As Martinez had it stripped away, but now it's pushed forward here for Bogarin. A little bit of build-up play now here from Paraguay. Martinez, not a bad idea. Trying to shape that one through a small little seam, but the U.S. had numbers there to push it away.
I like seeing the confidence right now in Paraguay. They're not just sitting back. They're actually, when they get the ball, they're putting some pieces together in the attack, and they're looking to pull the U.S. out of shape. They can keep this up. This might be a closer game than everyone expects.
I mentioned the lone other meeting they had back in 2008. It was actually Paraguay that took a lead into halftime before the U.S. found 3 goals in the second half to win that one 3-1.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't hurt to go down a goal, especially your first game. Kind of get that out of your system and get fired up and come back from that.
Rodriguez just trying to send it blindly forward. Interesting to see if, I know it's early here in the first half, Shannon, but you can see Paraguay's not going to be shy to touch it around the back. Will the U.S. high pressure a little bit more and try and turn the ball over in that part of the field to see if they can create those early chances a little closer to the Paraguay goal?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised U.S. is sitting off of them a little bit and letting them have that
Me
play.
too.
I thought they would actually come out in a high-pressure stance with the attacking players, putting them under pressure, because that makes it more predictable for your midfielders to win the second ball.
Sanchez zips it into the feet of Spanstra. That one out of the reach of Pinto, and so the turnover comes back the other way now here for Sandoval in Paraguay. They'll take it right back onto it for the U.S.
You see Paraguay's content to let the U.S. play it around the back. They know they're not going to hurt them from back there, so they're going to sit back, look for the opportunity to win it, and then beat them on the counterattack.
Late challenge coming in there from Ojeda. She got a piece of Jalen Howell, and a free kick here for the U.S.
And Jalen Howell's not one of those you want to be fouling and getting fired up. She's known as the ball winner in that center mid, and she's going to be hit. She's going to put her own hits out there as well.
Future Florida State Seminole, as she has already made a commitment, like many of these young ladies. Rodriguez will play back for Ivory. Sanchez knocking it down, looking for Savannah Coleman. Now Pinto. A little string of possession here for a moment for the U.S. Howell. Up and over the top, trying to spring the attack in behind the U.S. back 4.
Key for the U.S. now is within this possession, when they get into that final third, can they have the patience to create something? Because right now they're kind of running out of ideas in that final third and playing very direct like we see here.
I was just going to say, it seems a little bit direct once they get into Paraguay's half so far. Pinto muscling her way through. This one will pop loose here for Tagliaferri.
And you see all that space wide. When you have the personality players that you have, like Sanchez and Coleman, can you get wide and let them get up 1v1 and make something happen?
Well, you mentioned Ashley Sanchez. I think we both were a little bit surprised when you saw as far as the formation, pushing her out a little bit wider on the left side of the formation. Yeah, I think B.J. Snow knows that a lot of those players in the front five, if you will, have carte blanche to move around and interchange. But she's a player that can orchestrate from the middle so well. Here's Pinto. Slips it through on a well-timed run. Tagliaferri, and she'll open the scoring as the U.S. have a lead in the opening 11 minutes.
Ball from Pinto. Tagliaferri does a great spin there with her first touch and is able to beat the keeper, who's coming out a little bit early. Salas goes down to the ground a bit, and Tagliaferri has the composure just to chip it right over her. That's a beautiful through ball from Pinto, and this should help settle the U.S. down.
Certainly, and we'll see how Paraguay will react as well. 8th goal in this calendar year for Frankie Tagliaferri, the New Jersey native who's committed to Penn State. I think you're right, Shannon. It was a great ball from Pinto. She just split the seam perfectly. The run was well timed. And then the execution on the finish, obviously there for Tagliaferri, on point.
That's what we're talking about. Those are your personality players. Get the ball to their feet and let them do their magic up there.
Kiara Pickett.
Here we see it again, a nice little through ball. What a great spin touch right there from Tagliaferri. Salas got caught kind of in the middle of nowhere, went to the ground a little bit early, I think. Nice little chip ball. Great composure from Tagliaferri in first World Cup.
I think as a person who scored many goals in a red, white, and blue uniform, you can speak to the preparation right there. That's a training ground, kind of the first touch and turning and finishing, isn't it?
Those are the drills you set up, and when they happen out there, the coach is going to take some credit. But that's just beautiful, great composure from Tagliaferri.
The one thing Paraguay has had in these opening 12 minutes and change has been free kick opportunities. It's probably the best of the bunch and closest to the U.S. goal so far.
Yeah, can they respond to that and take advantage of this free kick in a great position here?
Ojeda will stand over it. Trying to mix up the runs around the penalty spot. Lofted in. And the U.S. had plenty of numbers to clear that one away. First to get to it for the U.S. Here's Savannah Coleman. Pinto steps in to win it. Here's Ashley Sanchez just laying it off. Spencer now with a chance to lift her chin and find some space. As Pickett makes the wide overlapping run. Chance to cut it inside. Is there more on the cards? Coleman with a chance, and it's 2-0 U.S.
What a beautiful build-up for that one. That's your outside back. Kiara Pickett getting all the way from the right back position. A great run into the attacking third. Little individual skill here. Picks her head up, cuts the ball back. Look at that, just a beautiful finish from Koolman. That's why she's up there in the middle, because she's got a nose for the goal, just like Sanchez. Here you see Pickett. Thoughtful pass. She gets her head up and has the time and the composure to pick Koolman out, and Koolman takes care of business.
11th goal on the year for Savannah Coleman. The Littleton, Colorado native leads this U.S. under-17 team in putting balls in the back of the net this year. And she gets her first of the U-17 World Cup.
Paraguay, sadly, they're used to giving up these goals, but can they dig in now and find an answer to this and stay in this game before it gets too far out of control, with the U.S. now building their confidence?
You see B.J. Snow, far left of your picture. Savannah Coleman makes it 2-0. And yeah, by the way, she knows a thing or two about scoring some big goals on big stages. It was her goal that was the game winner in the CONCACAF U-17 Women's Championship in the final against Mexico, coming late in the second half.
And that's what makes this USA team so dangerous. They don't have just one player like is here from Paraguay in Martinez. They've got so many great goal scorers.
Pinto coming forward, and that one deflected back into the gloves of Salas. And I would say again, very technical on both of the U.S. goals so far here in the opening quarter of an hour. You saw it first with Taliaferri, and then moments ago, great first touch for Coleman to set herself up to finish it home with her second touch.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier. This generation of players coming up are so advanced on the technical side, and as they grow and mature and are put in these environments, the tactical side's going to come, and these are the young players that are going to become household names within a few years on the USA.
Well, Shannon, no longer is it just going to the wall to work on your first touch anymore for these young ladies, right? They've got the technical equipment, they've got the training sessions that they put in, the hours that they put in. And you can certainly see it the way that they can play out on the field, especially so far in the good start here tonight.
Absolutely, and even that there's a U-17 World Cup. I mean, what a great opportunity for these young women.
Up and over the top, Salas comes off of her line, never even got a touch to it. But fortunately for her, Barrero was back there to clean things up for Paraguay, or it would have been a third here in the early going for the U.S.
I think we're definitely seeing some nerves from Salas. She's a bit shaken, giving up 2 goals early here. You see a nice little chip ball from Sanchez. She comes out a bit early, doesn't quite get a touch to it. Luckily, she has her defensive player covering for her. I'd hate to give up a third goal, a goal like that at this point in the game already.
Sandoval winning the ball, but the U.S. win it right back through Jalen Howe. Well, funny that you and I were discussing literally in the first 7-8 minutes before the U.S. scored the first of their 2 here, how Paraguay should be happy with their start, looking pretty good so far, possessing the ball against probably a clear favorite in the U.S. And all of a sudden, the U.S. unlocked the defense 2 times in a matter of maybe 3.5 minutes.
And you just had to know if Paraguay wasn't going to find one early, the U.S. was going to find their stride as they did there. And once you get that first goal, your first World Cup as a team, get that first goal, that kind of gives you that sigh of relief and helps you just relax and go that much harder. So Paraguay needed to take advantage of their opportunities earlier in the game and get USA to stay on their heels.
Still looking for a response from the South Americans. Touched onto the feet of Bogarin. Here's Martinez, the player we told you about, probably the most technical and really experienced player on the side for Paraguay. BJ Snow was very quick when we spoke with him last week, very quick to point out how technical and how dangerous she can be, Jessica Martinez.
Yeah, and you see all the USA players making a name for themselves. She already's made a name in Paraguay. You're going to see her advance through her teams for Paraguay, and I'm sure if she hasn't already gotten an opportunity with the older teams and continuing up to the full side.
Martinez trying to stake a claim that it should be a throw for Paraguay there, but the U.S. will have it instead.
Little gamesmanship there, too.
Say that, yep.
Why not slow the game? Ball's in your attacking third. Let's get in their face a little bit. Try to slow it.
And here is Martinez again on the ball, trying to hold it up. And a little bit too much contact from Taliaferri, so that was going to give Paraguay the free kick here in the 19th minute of play.
And it's good that we're calling Martinez's name now, because she is going to set the tone for Paraguay. And if she's being involved and even just getting the face of the USA, that's making a statement to her team. Trying to get them fired up.
See what Paraguay can come up with in terms of creativity from a free kick here. Again, it's Ojeda to deliver it. That's not going to cut it. That almost shows you the gap as far as soccer intellect right there. Because, you know, if the U.S. had a similar free kick, there's no way they would be looking for a direct effort from that spot on the field. Whereas Paraguay thinking, oh, maybe we can hit one just right and catch the goalkeeper for a moment.
Absolutely, and I think they get away with that at their club level, and so it's this step for them now tactically to have that wherewithal of how can they make this be an effective play versus just playing it over the goal. It becomes wasteful.
The U.S. has been clinical already twice here in the first half to take a 2-0 lead. ball will run out in front of B.J. Snow in the U.S. bench. There you see Karina Rodriguez, Southern California native.
Probably a little bit easier for the U.S. to knock it around now, knowing they have the 2-0 lead, but at the same time, they're well aware that Japan's made a statement and win a big 5-0 win in their first game for bracket, and it's going to come down to those two, so they want to continue to press and take advantage of what they have out here against Paraguay.
And interestingly enough, Shannon, I mentioned the last time these teams met as Sanchez snakes her way through a couple of Paraguayan defenders. Ferry will leave it there for Savannah Coleman. She already has one, trying to slip it through for Alexa Spanstra. In 2008, and you mentioned Japan winning 5-0, goal differential can play a major role when it comes to teams pushing through into the next round, or into the knockout stages, I should say. In 2008, the U.S.'s only win in their group play came against Paraguay 3-1 as they lost to Japan there. But then they tied France, and France and the U.S. both ended up on 4 points, but it was the U.S. who went through with better goal differential.
And that's why you got to take advantage of the opportunity to get all the points, maximum points, and when you know it's goal differential, you've got to get the points and keep the clean sheet as well.
You know, some might say, as you take another look at the second goal here for the U.S.,
that's just beautiful individual skill by Pinto there, megging the player, and then you see she's going to get her head up. Kuhlman takes a little bit of a tough first touch there, but she's able to play it in back post. It's a beautiful finish.
I was going to say, you might say for the U.S. and even for a team like Japan, at some point would someone say, well, aren't you running up the score if you're going to really try and put the ball in, say 7-8 times against an inferior team? But you have to think about the big picture, and if goal differential is going to play a role, you have to score when you have the opportunity. Will this be an opportunity for a third here now for the U.S.? Sanchez, good ball in. Spanstra, the intended target, pushed away by Paraguay.
And to your point, when it's goal differential, you have to score the goals. You know, in youth tournaments, you see that they cap it at 3 goals, and then beyond that, so they try to keep the scores down. But at the international level, it comes down to goal differential, and if it means you can score 10 goals and it's going to give you that much of a cushion, you've got to go after it.
Or in this case, if indeed Japan and the U.S., who are both locked up here in Group D in this edition of the FIFA U-17 World Cup, if they ended up tied on points, and you want to come out as the top team, obviously to play a lesser of 2 teams coming out of a different group in the knockout stage, that's a game when it's going to come into play.
Absolutely. And all those little things, I'm sure they're going through BJ's mind. He's well aware of the scoreline earlier. Can they best Japan by getting an extra goal out here and maybe winning by 6?
By the way, those 2 teams will meet to wrap up Group D play a week from today. And of course, we'll have that one for you on Fox Sports. Here's Rodriguez. Time to walk it across the center stripe. Up and over the top. Spanstra just getting in behind the last defender, but knocked away there by Barrero. Yes, you're on TV. There's a little more high pressure from the U.S. to try and pin Paraguay in, and it works. The ball turns over. Pickett, who was influential in the second goal already here tonight. Paraguay just blindly looking to clear it back out towards midfield in the direction of Martinez, and tangling up there with Jalen Howell.
And you just got to love your right back pushing up. She's taken a throw in about 15 yards from the end line, and that's great because that's an extra player in the attack, and you love to have players that have that confidence to push in and take advantage of that. And BJ's given them the freedom, as you've mentioned up top, the mobility up there. Can those outside backs have the mobility to get forward?
Pickett can really play at either outside back spot. We saw her in the CONCACAF Women's Championships also play at the left back spot.
Yeah, and she's a player that likes to fly forward, and right now Paraguay doesn't have an answer for her coming forward.
You would almost say, wouldn't you, that B.J. Snook has the luxury of going 3 at the back because Paraguay is limited. We'll talk about that more in a moment, but it's the U.S. on the attacking run again here. And Salas lets that one run through, and in the same breath, Olympia Freites goes down. Didn't look like there was any contact, and those are sometimes the ones you worry about the most.
Yeah, she's trying to slide forward, and her leg just kind of gets caught under her. Might have gotten stuck in that turf a little bit. But it's also an opportunity to slow the game down a little bit, maybe get a little bit organized, let Paraguay sort some stuff out. USA is starting to get some momentum up there. Paraguay is going to pull out all the tricks to try to slow that. Now you're looking at 2-0 down at this point. Can they slow the bleeding a little bit? Keep the USA a little bit off kilter, because the more time on the ball that the USA gets, you see here, the ball slipped through. But the more time and possession that the U.S. gets, the stronger they're going to become as this game goes on. There's still plenty of soccer left out there, so Paraguay wants to try to keep it within reach at this point.
I would say, though, from the body language right there, especially of Heidi Salas, the goalkeeper for Paraguay, are a little bit of a blame game going on. Maybe some of her defenders asking why she wasn't coming out for that ball, and Freites having to slide back to try and push it away.
It's never a good sign when your team starts arguing within itself. That means you're coming unglued there. So they need to keep their cool, stay organized, and make the U.S. really earn each and every one of these goals.
27th minute. And first corner of the night for the U.S. Ashley Sanchez over there to put it in play now here. Here's the U.S. captain in onto the near post, easily nodded away by Fabiola Sandoval. No immediate chance for their counterattack. Sanchez keeps it in, but Paraguay win it back. All the way back for Laurel Ivory as the U.S. able to reset their shape. To win it. You would, I think you have to agree, Shannon. I mean, defensively, the U.S. look really sound, really comfortable. And so far, I don't know that we've seen anything from Paraguay that's going to change that.
You definitely get the sense that it's going to take something uniquely special to break down this USA defense on the part of Paraguay. Because as we said, the longer this goes on, these players are getting more and more confidence under them. And the U.S., especially in the back, they're so tight back there. With Germa and Rodriguez, they've played together.
The attacking end has been pretty good so far as well. Spencer just trying to touch it past the last defender. It was Cabañas.
And that's where that week in Cyprus to just fine-tune, to acclimate, and work on some team building. This team has a sense of family. They have a more professional approach. They've definitely done the work. It's just time to come out and perform now. You see Spencer here trying to beat player 1v1. Ball just gets a little bit too far away from her on that last touch.
Pinto laying it off there for Taliaferri. And now Naomi Germa. And now zero pressure across the back four for the U.S. from Paraguay.
And as you mentioned earlier, BJ definitely has the luxury of bumping a player from the defensive line into the attack. But at the same time, when you have a team bunkering, the more numbers you push forward could make it more clogged in that middle. So I think he's going to stay with the four in the back and look for Wiesner and Pickett to just press in when the timing's right.
Happy to have you along here from Prince Mohammed International Stadium here in Jordan. Mark Rogandino alongside former U.S. Women's National Team World Cup winner Shannon McMillan. 2 goals in the opening quarter of an hour for B.J. Snow's under-17 women. Taliaferri in the 11th minute. About 3 minutes later, Savannah Coleman made it 2-0. And both those players have had a lot of touches here in the first half, along with Ashley Sanchez, which clearly has to be part of the game plan. As a free kick coming here for Paraguay, but you're getting your impact players, Shannon. A lot of touches on the ball, and that can only be a good thing for the U.S.
Absolutely, and a nightmare on the other side for Paraguay, because those personality players, the more touches they get, the more opportunities on goal, means the more goals they're going to score. And to have them involved early, it sets the tone for the U.S. for the entire tournament, and that's the confidence you want building in those players.
And I guess adding another layer to that part of the conversation is the fact that then you're getting, like you said, your outside backs like Brianna Pinkett forward and getting touches in the attacking end, Jalen Howe, and Pinto have been very comfortable in their defensive sitting spot in front of that back four.
Yeah, Germa and Rodriguez have it locked in at the back, and when you have those personalities and Paraguay has to condense into the middle, that opens up the flanks wide open, and Pickett and Wiesner can go all day long. It's going to be on. They're going to have nothing but space.
Another free kick opportunity here for Paraguay as you see Laura Ivory setting the defense in front. This one bent in onto the penalty spot. Ivory will stay home. And a chance here. Well, maybe Mino would have an opportunity to run it down, but instead it trickles out for a U.S. goal kick.
You can just see the body language of the subs right there. They know they're in for a long day, but what I like there is that they had a little bit more savviness on that free kick. Instead of just looking to play it on goal, they know they can't beat Ivory, the golden glove for CONCACAF. Nice little floated ball in to see if someone get on the end of that. So they're already evolving on the Paraguayan side. Now can they take advantage of one of these?
This is a U.S. under-17 team that has not tasted defeat and really has not had a lot of hiccups so far in this year. In fact, unbeaten in 2017. There's Pickett, well positioned to push it away. Pinto sliding in hard for the challenge, but Paraguay able to win it back. 12 wins and 2 draws on the year in 2017 for BJ Snow and this U.S. under-17 team.
And that's why the draw for them in the World Cup sets up so perfectly. They've been so dominant, and to face Paraguay in your first game is going to allow you to get the nerves out before you play the Japan in your group play, because as you mentioned, you want to come out on top and potentially have a second-place team that you're facing in the quarterfinals. So it sets up perfectly for them to use this to get the nerves out, relax, and settle in, and be prepared for Japan down the road.
Sandwiched in between this game and that game against Japan Tuesday against Ghana at King Abdullah International Stadium, as they will move to Amman for their second game of Group D. Rodriguez using her head to control it, then playing into the feet of Howell. Spanstra knocking it down here for Kiara Pickett.
You can already see the body language of the Paraguayans on the field right now. The U.S., the more possession they get, the Paraguayans are starting to walk more. They're going to wear them out if they can keep knocking the ball around like this and having a patience. They're going to have big gaps open up on the attacking side, just like this.
Spanstra, positive first touch towards the end of the 18. Gets past one defender, sliding it across. Was looking for Taliaferri, but it ricocheted off of her and unable to keep possession for a moment for the U.S. And I think you could speak to it. If there's one thing we certainly know about the U.S. women's national team, regardless of what age group you're talking about, fitness will always be a priority, and you know that B.J. Snow has his team physically ready for the challenges of a World Cup.
Absolutely. Physically and mentally, the U.S. mantra is no one will beat us in that area. And now you add in the technical ability of these players and the thoughtfulness. You saw their Spanstra getting in. At this young age, you expect a lot of these players just to look for a chance on goal, but they're picking up their head and they're trying to pick someone out, set your teammate up, and make them look good with an easy goal. So the tactical ability right there is just brilliant at this age group.
I don't know about you, but when I was 16 or 17, fitness was the last thing I ever wanted to do.
That was always the bane of my existence. I just wanted to score goals.
And a lot of them you did.
I learned fitness isn't a part of it.
Sanchez will knock this one forward towards midfield. Nobody home there for the U.S. as Maria Vecca watches it run out. Mino. Across the back here for Barrero. Ojeda. Little string of possession here for Paraguay. And just as I say that, Savannah Coleman steps in to win it and tries to play into the feet of Ashley Sanchez, just out of her reach.
You can see the U.S. is so organized defensively. They're sliding to help get cover. They're getting 10 players behind the ball, just as we saw with Germany. That organization is key at this level.
Good skill from Pinto as she wins it right back. Sanchez now driving full force right to the top of the 18. Around one defender, onto her right foot. Salas makes the save, and she'll pounce on the loose ball inside of her 6-yard box.
We see the skill of Ashley Sanchez. That's why she's the golden ball, the best player from CONCACAF. She's able to dance her way around. She's got 3 Paraguayans in front of her, but she's still able to get a good shot off. Taliaferri just wasn't close enough to finish it.
you would assume that Paraguay has done a bit of their own scouting. Surprised that they would allow Ashley Sanchez the amount of time inside the 18 to cut it back onto her right foot, lift her chin, and still try and pick out a corner.
Yeah, you'd almost think tactically they'd man mark her and have someone just following her. And you can see now it looks like Taliaferri still holding in the middle, but they pushed Kuhlman out to the left, and Sanchez is now up in the center. That interchange is huge for the U.S. because they've got goals from so many players out there. They don't have to rely on just one person.
Pickett. And now Jalen Howe. Coleman looking to first time one into space there for Frankie Taliaferri.
You can see Cabañas is fired up here. She's getting upset with her team. Trying to get them going, get some spark in them because they're starting to fall more and more flat as this half goes on.
There's Frankie spinning onto her left foot. And a chance to see if she can find any runners inside the 18. Now Sanchez. Pinto lets it go on her own, and that one will go up and over the Paraguay goal. So a little less than 10 minutes left in this opening half of play here in the opener of Group D between Paraguay and the U.S. I would say business as usual so far for B.J. Snow and the U.S. women's under-17 team. They've been able to find a couple of goals, but more importantly have been able to have the ball as much as they want.
I think going into halftime, Coach Snow's going to address the team and say, don't settle. Don't be content where you're at. It's 2-0, but we know Japan already won 5-0 earlier. We've got to keep the pace up, and they have to keep playing their game. They can't get lulled into the security of the 2-0 lead. They need to press for more, and the Paraguay's going to look to lull them into that. So can they outsmart Paraguay and keep the intensity and the pace of the game going the way they want it to?
Another surge coming forward here for the U.S. Spanstra just couldn't keep it on a string on her right foot. By the way, for as beneficial as it sets up for the U.S. here in Group D, as you mentioned, not having to play Japan until they've gotten a couple games under their belt, it's the opposite for Paraguay. They have to open with games against the U.S. and Japan before finishing against Ghana. Salas will come and punch near the penalty spot.
But at the same time, Paraguay, they're a nation that's still building. They haven't had much success at the World Cup level, but they've qualified a couple times. And Coach Basualda, he took this team over in January. What a great opportunity to get some learning lessons by facing two of the best teams in the world early in your bracket and use this to build on for the next cycle.
They finished without a point in 2008, the first time Paraguay made their way into the U-17 World Cup. The next time they were in, they were able to get a draw in one of their 3 group matches to earn their first ever point. But still, now in their 3rd entry into the into the FIFA U-17 World Cup, looking for their first ever win. They might be able to get that against Ghana.
Yeah, that's definitely probably the game they're looking to get results from. The rest of the time, they're going to try to keep it respectable.
Right.
But as we said, can you improve? You're looking for the growth here. And this is a great opportunity. The film for them is going to be huge for learning lessons moving forward.
Good crisp passing here for the U.S. to build up to midfield. Pickett again venturing forward from the right back spot. Now Sanchez looking for the unselfish ball to cut it back across the face of the Paraguay goal.
But that's the time you have to be selfish that close. You've got to give it a chance on goal. I love that she's looking to set her teammate up. Taliaferri was cutting in across behind her, but 3 yards out, you've got to take that chance.
Second corner of this opening half for the U.S.
A different look from the U.S. The first corner, they had everyone within the 6-yard box. Now they're a little bit out, so you can tell they've worked on these set pieces.
This is Kate Wiesner coming in to deliver the ball all the way across here for Sanchez. A stop and go to create some space. Now can she deliver a ball inside the area instead? A direct shot right at Salas. And really no trouble on the save there for the Paraguay keeper.
Gonzalez playing that ball quick. She's trying to catch him on the counterattack, but the Paraguayan attack's just not ready for that to hold it. Here you see Ashley Sanchez. Look at these beautiful quick touches. Just leaves in there, is able to get the shot. She's falling off balance a little bit, which is why she's not able to generate the power she probably normally would have if she could drive through that ball.
2 goals in the opening 15 minutes for the U.S. And they've certainly had chances to add to it since that time. See if they can slip one more in before we hit the halftime break. If you're Paraguay, what are you looking at? What are you focusing on maybe for the second half? Where have you seen a little glimpse outside of having some free kick opportunities? Where have you seen in the run of play that they might be able to use in the second half?
Well, I think they need to stay a little bit more organized and compact on defense, and then when they're getting into that attack, can they find Martinez and get her in front of the goal, because she's not involved enough for them to be dangerous. And it's, 2-0, that's, you'll hear every coach say, that's a dreaded lead, because 1 goal by Paraguay can completely flip the script and the momentum changes, and then the USA is going to find themselves on the heels. So the U.S. needs to make sure they're getting more security out there, and Paraguay needs to realize 2-0 at the half is not bad.
There was Martinez coming in to try and shield the ball down for Paraguay, but whistled for the foul. Three in the wall now here for Paraguay. Sanchez and Spanster both stand over the free kick for the U.S. Able to run it down. She get the second touch to put it in. No.
But that work rate from Wiesner, that's what the USA is all about. Sanchez doesn't hit this ball across as well as she wanted to, but Wiesner runs and is able to keep that in bounds for them all the way over there. And that work rate and that heart and soul, that's what drives this team forward. And they're working hard for each other out there because they've had the preparation. And they know that this is the last thing that they need to check off the list of trophies.
Kate Wiesner, one of the younger ladies on this roster for BJ Snow, starting at the left back position here tonight in Jordan. For the ball there for Paraguay. And out for a U.S. throw. Just a couple of minutes from closing out the opening 45 minutes here of the opener in Group D for the U.S. and Paraguay. Make sure you stick around. Shannon McMillan will share some thoughts from the opening 45 minutes with you during halftime, as well as we'll take a look at the highlights from this first half of play here inside of Prince Mohammed International Stadium. Pinto skates away from the first challenge. Couldn't quite get past the second as Paraguay knock it out for a U.S. throw. Playing wide for Martinez, one of her few touches this far up the field in this first half. And the Paraguay captain tripped up just before that far side touchline to give Paraguay a free kick.
Yeah, and here's the soccer smarts of Martinez. She realized she doesn't have help. She kind of makes a meal out of that. She kind of leans into Wiesner to get the foul, knowing that she didn't have support. Let's give us a chance by getting a free kick and get numbers up. Very smart on her part.
Well, the question is now what can they do with one of these free kicks?
Oh, they would love to take advantage of one of these going into the half this late completely against the run of play.
Arevalo trots over to deliver this free kick. As the last few seconds tick away here in the first half. Ojeda, long distance. Why not?
That's your golden glove there, showing that she's got the foot skills as well. You love that confidence in your keeper. I'm sure BJ's probably going to tell her to catch it next time, though. Maybe not be so silly.
Hey, a goalkeeper will tell you their foot skills are always strong, and if there's no pressure, I mean, she has been pretty quiet as far as touches in the first half. Back there for Laurel Ivory.
Yeah, Paraguay definitely haven't tested her. They've lofted some softballs in there for her. If they're going to beat the best goalkeeper coming out of CONCACAF, you're going to have to do a little bit more than that.
Absolutely. 1 minute minimum of stoppage time to close out this first half. Is that enough time maybe for the U.S. to get one more surge forward? Sanchez will push. Pinto sliding it through. And that one will run all the way back to the feet of Heidi Salas. And the whistle brings the first half to a close. So the U.S. find 2 goals in the opening 15 minutes. First from Frankie Tagliafico.